do we have the capacity and the will to take this law and, without federal prescription, become leaders in education reform?
The folks who actually work on a lot of these measures of socio-emotional well-being do not think these measures are ready to be used for school accountability. We've got measures of student perspectives on the quality of the instruction that they receive can be used and have been validated in some of my own work for measuring differences between schools. Also, school student perspectives on school climate are appropriate for measuring differences between schools. So we do have some things that are appropriate.
One of them is, that really excites me in the new law, is the opportunity to get away from strict use of standardized assessment measures to rate schools and students, and to move on to opportunities to have performance-based assessments, which I feel will more accurately capture what students know and are able to do in a variety of different settings for a variety of different students.
On the positive side, I think the advancing policies to really promote more innovative approaches. So there's a 7-state pilot in the law that allows some states who are ready to move forward to really try to expand the nature of assessment toward more performance-oriented events that are complex, that are challenging, that have differential outcomes.
Although there have been some real progress made over the last few years in trying to shift the complementary role that districts would have with the state, a lot of the states still don't have the skill set inside the agency to be true partners with districts. I think this law is calling for a different kind of relationship between states and districts. We've operated so long with a sort of, you come up with a state solution, it's passed down to the local districts, it's implemented at that level. This law hints at a much more collaborative process.
The first step may be to more effectively use the capacity we already have. There's some districts that have more than others do. There's private sector consulting capacity. You can imagine having districts share certain types of expertise.
We like having data to reflect on, but we use it to drive our instruction. And when we talk to teachers about data, we almost have to decouple ourselves from the state conversation about data, which is all about passing and failing. And
we have an assumption that we really need to dramatically change how we understand student engagement. We're living today with a 19th century model rooted in 17th century ideals. And it's working perfectly to continue to stratify and to select and to perpetuate, structures in our system that really limit our progress, ironically. So if you really want to get out of the box we're in, then we believe you really need to move to a much more customized, much more real world, much more competency-based approach to learning.
We want two kinds of things. We want kids to have basic skills. We want them to develop basic skills. We want them to develop the mindsets and the dispositions and so on. When we look across lots of schools, we survey millions of kids a year. And if we want the basic skills, it's how effectively teachers challenge kids to think rigorously and to persist in the face of difficulty and to stay on task. Those are the things that predict it. And maybe you can innovate some to think rigorously, but there's already some teachers who really know how to get kids to think rigorously and encourage them to persist in the face of difficulty and to stay on task. If you want them to have ambitious goals and to be inspired to do more, things that predict that are how interesting the teacher makes the lessons and how personally she connects with the kids. So if you care a lot and you captivate them, they want to be like the teacher, they want to learn more. Okay, there are ways to do that people already know. Okay, and so, but what we don't have is learning systems in schools and supports that get people to sink their teeth into these things. People are so stuck in the status quo that they think this is how it's going to be. I just need to get through the day, like you said. They want to have a normal day.
Right.
All right, and so you could say there's some innovation to be had in how we actually get turn the ship, get the boat to move, and to do more of what we kind of already know.
we don't have the on-demand, in-the-moment supports for students because of the way that our schools are structured. We're still structured with all kids come in at this time and all kids go home at that time and a period is this long and lunch is this long, everybody must take this many math classes and this many English language arts classes, et cetera, in order to graduate. We haven't stepped outside of that box, even though we understand better how kids need support.
If you want to advance more people to a promising future, do what we're doing better. If you want to advance a large majority of people forward, then you're going to do things like meeting students where they really are, not where we wish they were because of their birthday. We're going to be passing people forward when we're sure they know things, not just because June rolls around. Equitable is not equal. It doesn't mean everybody gets the same treatment. It's where you put, resources where they're needed and you meet kids where they are.
The greatest inequality in access to educational opportunity is in access to an orderly classroom. We ask kids questions like, kids in my class behave so badly that it interferes with our learning. You get way too much agreement with that in classrooms where you have concentrated disadvantage. We want, ultimately, all kids to thrive in life, which means that we care about not just whether the money is equitably distributed, but whether the life experiences are equitably distributed. And we need to have more discourse about what are the life experiences that we want our kids to have that really matter.
The things we've been talking about and the puzzle we're in, we are completely capable of finding our way forward.